here as possible to listen. We have Steve Sosebee, and I will be introducing him in just a brief moment. If you do have any questions for the end, please request and let us know. But as always, you guys know to protect the live and share the live, and we will go ahead and get started, inshallah. We have Steve Sosebee. Steve founded and led Palestine Children's Relief Fund from 1991 until he left to co-found HEAL Palestine on January 1st of 2024. For over 3 decades, he has led humanitarian efforts on the ground in Palestine, beginning with arranging free medical care in 1990 for the first injured children from Palestine in the United States, and organizing the first volunteer medical missions to Gaza in 1995. Through his long service to Palestine and his role in building and leading 2 impactful nonprofit organizations, he brings decades of nonprofit experience to Heal Palestine. Welcome, Steve. It is an honor to have you with us today. Thank you again for joining us. I wanted to just start, if you can share with us what originally inspired you to begin humanitarian work in Palestine, and how did that evolve into founding PCRF and now Heal Palestine?
Sure, that's a great question, and it takes me back to the first Intifada. I was a college activist back in 1988 on the issue of Palestine. From a small university, relatively small university in central and northeast Ohio. That when the Intifada began, I really got very much committed to the cause and sharing, the history and the struggle of the Palestinian people with fellow students who were not aware of what was happening in Palestine during the first Intifada. So I was actually selected by chance. Being an activist at the university on this issue, there weren't many at that time. I was actually selected by chance to go to the West Bank and Gaza in the first year of the first Intifada on a student delegation of other activists. And we did a tour for 3 weeks through the ADC. It was called Eyewitness Israel. It was a really great program. And it was a chance for us to meet with peace activists, meet with Palestinians, obviously, see firsthand and live with Palestinian families in Hebron, in Jerusalem, in Ramallah, in Gaza. I made a lot of great friendships and connections and got to experience firsthand what the struggle of the Palestinians was under occupation. I finished university with a degree in international relations, and I wanted to do something for Palestine after having gone there and had that firsthand experience. And, 2 things really moved me deeply, which was the harshness and brutality of the Israeli occupation. And obviously, in comparison today, it's completely different. But at that time, it was very really moving to see how brutal the occupation was and the manner in which they were trying to suppress the Palestinian desire for self-determination and freedom. And then the other thing was just the courage, the resilience, and humanity of the Palestinian people that I met. They were so kind everywhere I went. They were so open and so giving and welcoming. And all they asked was to just tell the world what was happening on the ground. I think that they all realized that that what was happening was unacceptable. And then finishing university, I wanted to go back and share those stories of the people I met. I felt Americans were not informed. There was no internet at that time, so information was really highly
So yeah, hard to reach and hard to push around.
Yeah. So I finished university. I went back to work, and I started to work as a journalist during the first Gulf War. I worked at Al Fajr newspaper in East Jerusalem. It was an amazing experience. And then I also started to just tour around the West Bank and Gaza and meet so many people and get to know the land and get to know the struggle, the culture, Palestinian society firsthand. And during the course of that work, I met an injured boy and his sister from Hebron. He had had his legs blown off, his hand blown off. He'd lost his eye from an Israeli anti-tank shell that was thrown at his family as they were eating lunch one day. And I befriended him and his family. And, at that time, I wanted to be an activist. I wasn't in it to be a journalist. I just wanted to share stories. So I went back to Ohio and took a photograph of this boy with me and decided to try to help him and his sister get medical care. And I found that, I found a hospital that would accept them for free. I went back and got them with the support of the Palestinian community in Ohio and brought them over for treatment back in 1990. And that was the first 2 injured kids who came to the U.S. And then I decided to help more kids, and that was a way I could serve the Palestinian cause. And, I strongly believe in serving the cause for freedom and justice. And I don't think there's a cause more important back when I was younger and even today than the Palestinian struggle. So that was my I wanted to show the Palestinians that many people stand in solidarity with them, also to help heal the injuries of these innocent children, children who are being injured by the bombs and weapons supplied by my government, and also to organize and support the Palestinian communities outside to have a stronger role in serving their people and their struggle in the diaspora. And also by bringing kids here, it also educated Americans about what the reality was on the ground in Palestine. Kids coming into communities throughout the United States for medical care, people saw them, they heard their stories, and they were shocked to learn something that the media was not showing them, which is that innocent children are being injured and killed every day. Obviously, this is 30 years ago. Even today, it's obviously much more graphic, and the numbers are just beyond understanding. But that's how I got started, and then I decided to start PCRF, and that was back in 1991. I registered the organization and started to build, and married a Palestinian woman. We fell in love in Jerusalem. We got married, we had kids, and she was a social worker.
Whoa.
So she started helping to build the organization, and for 17 years, her name was Huda Al-Masri. For 17 years, we built the organization together from nothing to a very strong organization. In 2009, unfortunately, she got leukemia and passed away. And I had two daughters. I moved back to Palestine to raise them there with her family to help, and just built the organization even bigger, and built a cancer department in Bethlehem for children in her name, and did so many. We started bringing medical teams in. We were the first ones to do that. We started building huge projects on the ground in Palestine. Like I said, a cancer department, the first one for children in the West Bank, and took on bigger projects. We built a cancer department in Gaza, and the organization got bigger. And after 7 years, I remarried, and my wife now is a pediatric oncologist. She treats children with cancer, the same disease that killed my first wife. She's Sudanese American, so she speaks Arabic, she knows the culture, and she's very committed to the Palestinian struggle as well. And I have two children with her as well. I carry a Palestinian passport. I was obliged to take one by the Israeli occupation. I'm proud to carry it. I understand that millions of Palestinians all over the world are denied that passport. And I, work for and struggle for every single day their right to carry their own passport and to have their own country and their freedom and their self-determination as Palestinians. But I'm honored to carry a Palestinian passport. I live in the West Bank. Much of my adult life has been in the West Bank, living with a Palestinian ID and a Palestinian passport and understanding that struggle. And obviously here we are today with what's happening in Gaza and in the West Bank as well. And understanding that the struggle has changed significantly over the past 35 years since I got involved.
Wow. Phenomenal. I mean, first of all, I had no idea that you have lived in Palestine and that you carry a Palestinian ID.
Yeah,
So, welcome to the Palestinian family. I
thank
mean,
you.
you already have, your story is amazing. Wow. Amazing, amazing. How this is kind of to speak on HEAL right now. How do HEAL Palestine's programs address long-term psychological and societal trauma beyond immediate medical relief?
That's a great question. I think this is the hardest thing to work on, actually, is really the trauma that's being inflicted on the Palestinian people, particularly in Gaza, where every single person there is traumatized, from the smallest child to the oldest adult, having experienced firsthand such violence, such suffering, hunger, displacement, murder, injuries, the destruction of the education system, the destruction of the health system, the destruction of the infrastructure. It's really beyond comprehension to understand completely the daily struggle that people have to endure just to survive there. And the trauma that they've experienced is something that's been going on since, even before October 7th, of course, but it's at a different level now than it was prior to the genocide starting. And therefore, it's a huge challenge. And we have really three main programs that we're addressing psychological trauma for the children and for the people of Gaza. The hardest one is on the ground in Gaza. We've opened a trauma center in Gaza City, and we have a team of mental health specialists, from psychiatrists to psychologists to social workers, who are on the ground providing therapy and support collectively and individually to traumatized patients. But the challenge is, of course, that the ongoing genocide, the source of trauma, has not abated. It's only gotten worse. And therefore, being able to effectively treat this huge challenge, this trauma that the people are experiencing and living under, as it's ongoing, has made it extremely difficult. Nonetheless, we're doing our best. And the other aspect, I've mentioned three of them. The other is for displaced patients and displaced people from Gaza in Egypt, and there's hundreds of thousands of them. And we have a trauma team on the ground in Egypt that are also providing intervention therapy, counseling, group therapy, and individual therapy for mostly for injured children, but also for people in general. We've set up a hotline for people who are highly traumatized to reach out to our team and to be able to connect with therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, and get the therapy that they need. And then the third area is for the children that we bring over for medical care. And we're the main organization bringing injured children from Gaza to the United States for medical care. We include, as part of their holistic care, mental health therapy for them and for their mothers, aunts, grandmothers, whoever comes with them. We ensure that they also, as part of their medical treatment, that they are getting psychological treatment as well.
I
And
mean, the work.
so that
Yeah.
we're, that's part of the program, is to make sure that we do all we can for those people who have been traumatized. But it's a huge challenge, as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah. And that's actually my next question is what are some of the most challenging or, emotional cases you've encountered through your work and how did you respond?
I mean, we all of the patients are challenging because most of the kids that come here have not only lost limbs or suffered these horrific injuries, many of them life altering, but they've lost family members. We have a 3-year-old boy in Chicago now who lost his entire family, his mom, his dad, his siblings. He's an orphan, and he lost his leg. So, the trauma that is often seen is not always on the surface. It's deep. It's deep rooted. You see it expressed in different ways, whether it's aggressive behavior, whether it's a regression back into bedwetting. I'm not talking about this boy, but in general, for even the older kids that we bring, the inability to concentrate, deep depression. I think the one story I can convey most that still affects me is we have a boy in Boston who is now 15 years old. We brought him a year ago. We had to air flight him out of Egypt. He was so badly burned with his little brother and with his grandmother, because they're orphans as well. These are the only two surviving members of their family. Their parents were killed. Their brothers and sisters were killed. So his 5-year-old brother lost his leg. And the 15-year-old boy was badly burned all over his body. And we sent them to Boston. They were immediately taken by air flight into the hospital. And now they're recovering outside of the hospital, thank God. But I went to visit them. And I remember going up to his room, and the nurse was changing his bandages. And you can imagine, for burn patients, it's such a painful experience. For months and months, they go through such horrific pain. And when I went to visit him, his grandmother was downstairs with his little brother. And he was alone, and the nurse was trying to change his bandages, and he was crying because it hurt. And he also just started weeping about his missing his mother. And he said, no one can love you like your mother loves you. And this is just, he was at that time only 14, and it was so sad to hear him say it, because it was expressed from such a deep place within his soul, within his spirit. And there's really, you can comfort him, you can hug him, you can tell him you love him, we'll take care of you, but he's right. Nothing replaces your mother. Nothing replaces your parents. And so having that experience, he's, of course, we give him therapy. We give him all the support he needs. We're taking care of him and his family, what's left of his family, his little brother and his grandmother. But, those kind of experiences are very painful to see and to know that, whatever you say, whatever you can do for him, his mom is dead. She was killed by, by an American bomb, and we're responsible for that. So we're doing our best to undo whatever we can, but obviously you cannot bring his mother back.
And these are just one story out of thousands, I can imagine.
We have a boy
Um,
now in Cleveland who just
mhm.
arrived, and he came with a missing leg. His leg was amputated, and he came with one leg that was badly injured. And he came with his mother. This is just a couple weeks ago, um, and when he got to the hospital, unfortunately, the doctors couldn't save his leg, so they had to amputate his other leg. It was just infected. It was not going to be valuable to him. He'd be more valuable with a prosthetic limb than with what was left of his good leg. And his mom had already lost her only two sons, her only two other sons. They both were killed in the bombing that injured her other son. And so now she has one final son who's now a double amputee. He's 12 years old, and her two other sons are dead. And she's depressed and she's traumatized. And so these every single case we bring has every single child we bring has a story like this, has this incredible tragedy. And they were displaced 10 times. He was telling this boy was telling us about the times he carried all their belongings on their back from one site to another, from one site to another, and being forced to leave again under threat of bombing, and then finally being bombed. And so 10 times displaced, then bombed. His two brothers were killed. He lost both his legs. His poor mother is now with him in the hospital. And that every single patient we bring has tragic stories like this. We have a girl in Columbus right now who's 19 years old, and she has a significant leg injury that she's having surgery for. And she's with her mother, and her brother was killed yesterday in Jabalia camp. And they're in shock. They're her only brother. And we've had that happen several times to kids that we've brought here for treatment, because you can only bring one adult with them. It's their mother, it's their aunt, it's their grandmother to take care of them. And they have family back in Gaza undergoing a genocide, undergoing this everyday bombing campaign, which you never know when the next target is going to be a family member or somebody who's connected to you in a very personal, emotional way. I've lost lots of friends myself in Gaza in the last year and a half. And all we can do is just hope that this ends soon and keep working to help the people that we can help.
Yeah, I mean, wow. The work that you do is amazing. And I mean, how can the world support? So my question, I mean, you literally kind of sort of answered it, but your work obviously focuses heavily on children and youth. And what are the key challenges facing Palestinian youth today, and how can the world support their healing and development?
Well, I mean, look, Palestinian youth are all over the Middle East. You have refugees in Lebanon, you have refugees in Syria still, you have refugees in Jordan and in the West Bank, and you have Palestinians under occupation in the West Bank. You have Palestinians inside 1948 who have their own challenges every single day. But the biggest challenge, of course, is just survival for the Gaza children, for the people of Gaza. It's an existential threat that they're under. And obviously, the Israeli government's made it very clear that their intention is to drive the people out or to make their lives so miserable that they surrender or they leave. And to do that, you have to starve them, you have to kill them, you have to create conditions which are so inhumane and so in violation of international law, human rights law, and also against the basic core principles that all of us as human beings carry in our hearts and in our souls, which is to treat each other with love and compassion and kindness. We're equal humans on this planet. And then we have this condition where every day we witness the killing of dozens and hundreds of innocent people, most of them children. And that's the struggle today for the Palestinians, is that throughout the Middle East, throughout the world, they live without representation, they live without a state, they live without self-determination, and but most particular, they're living without security in Gaza and in the West Bank in many places. And therefore, what the biggest challenge is today is just survival for them, getting them food, getting them healthcare, getting them education, giving them a future, giving them a chance to live as human beings. And there's no place in the world that's happening to a population, the crimes that are being committed, the atrocities, the slaughtering of innocent people that happens every single day as it's happening in Gaza. There's no other place. It's unprecedented, really, in modern history. It's unprecedented in history in general because it's in real time and we see it and the world sees it. We didn't see the other Holocausts happen. We didn't see the other huge crimes against humanity that have taken place throughout our history as we see what's happening in Gaza today in real time. Everyone knows what's happening. People accept it, they tolerate it, they're too afraid to speak out. Those who do speak out are being targeted just for their voices, just for their words. And that's the struggle we face today.
Yep, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, you are absolutely right. We are watching a genocide in 4K, as a lot of people have mentioned throughout these past 18 months. And then I just have two more questions. What does a normal childhood look like for a child in Gaza or the West Bank, and how can global communities help restore dignity and opportunity to their life?
Well, there's no normal childhood. I'm not sure what the word normal means, no disrespect, but there's no normal childhood. Kids in Gaza are going, they've missed 2 years of school. Every day is a struggle for food, for clean water, for shelter. I think the majority of kids in Gaza live on one meal a day. So hunger is rampant, malnutrition is growing. Even in some cases, starvation is affecting the entire population of children there. So there's no normalcy of that. That's not normal, but that's the reality of what their lives are like. And in the West Bank, they face also huge challenges of living under occupation, and also in many areas, suffering in some cases the same kind of conditions of brutality, violence. And in some cases in the West Bank, of course, you have these settler militias committing pogroms against villages and refugee camps throughout the West Bank. So the very similar conditions, not quite to the same extent, but the population there's nothing normal about it. And I think if you want to talk about what children in Gaza are enduring and experiencing, or children in Palestine in general, it's just such an abnormal situation where they don't have education, they don't have clean water, they don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have health care, they don't have infrastructure. Every day they're struggling just to survive, and in many cases they don't succeed in surviving. And the amount of tension and stress just to hear the constant buzzing of drones overhead, armed drones looking for targets, which might be you and near you, creates this absolute amount of trauma and stress and anxiety, which people live with every day, and has affected deeply the mentality and the psychology of the population, both individually and collectively. And all we can do now, to question what can the international community do, we have to first of all, keep working. And whether that is, within so-called democratic societies, making sure that our politicians are aware of, and in some cases accountable for supporting these atrocities, this genocide. But I think more importantly, focusing our energy and channel into ways of showing the people there that we care and we're going to support them. We found it our way in HEAL Palestine by through a variety of different ways, whether it's running field hospitals on the ground. We have two main hospitals in the north and in the south that are providing medical care to the extent that they have supplies left. We're feeding people through our kitchens, although our kitchen in North Gaza only has a week's left of food left for people. We have over 30 injured children from Gaza in the United States right now being treated. So we have our host families, our volunteers come forward, take care of them, support them in their community where they're being cared for. We have 6 in Chicago, 2 in Detroit. We have 3 in Cleveland, New York, New Jersey. We have injured kids, Boston, Sacramento, San Francisco, Houston, Dallas. We have injured kids all over the country being treated. So our volunteers come forward and they help them. We just had new injured kids arrive in St. Louis. So we're always asking our communities, these are kids that we need the supportive volunteers to take care of while they're being treated locally. And, but the long-term vision is really not to give up and not to feel hopeless and helpless. We're not either of those two things. Every struggle for freedom goes through these horrific phases where it seems hopeless and it seems helpless. But as long as we don't give up, and particularly those of us who are in societies where we have some semblance of freedom to act, I'm not sure how much of that is left, but we keep acting, we keep working, we don't give up. We show the people there that their lives of their children matter, and we're going to help heal them. We're going to help support them in getting education and getting medical care and having a brighter future. The work is just starting. When the genocide is over is when the real work starts, because we're limited on what we can do now, given the restrictions on movement, the closure of Gaza, the ongoing huge atrocities being committed, and the scale of those atrocities. I'm not saying all we're doing now is witnessing, but a large part of that is just bearing witness. But the real work is going to start when we're able to come and re-enter the space that we can help intervene and rebuild the lives of these traumatized and injured and orphaned children by the thousands. So that's we hope that people will support organizations like HEAL Palestine and be a part of what our long-term vision is, as well as our immediate one, and make it possible for us to continue to heal these children. And we're part of the healing process. We act out of love, we act out of compassion, we act out of solidarity, and we don't cower in the face of fascism or a desire to shut us up for any reason. We speak out of the desire to see peace and freedom and equality for all people, and the Palestinian people are on the top of that list.
Wow. Thank you for all of your efforts and your hard work. What can we do? How can we help heal Palestine? Um, can you give us some tips on what the communities, us, the average, Palestinians or the average pro-Palestinians, that those are, that want to do more, that feel like they can't. How can we help heal Palestine?
Yeah, that's we are a volunteer-based organization. We're a grassroots organization. For example, we have a summer camp this year with all of our kids that are here from Gaza and their mothers, aunts, or siblings coming and having a camp heal in which they get to reconnect with each other, reconnect with nature, and it's to reconnect with their identity as Palestinians. We're looking for young Palestinian Arabic-speaking Americans who can be camp counselors. So if you're interested, you can
Mm.
volunteer at camp@healpalestine.org. That's the email. Just send your CV if you're interested. We're looking for, as I said, for young camp counselors to help the kids while they're at that camp in June. In addition to that, if you are in communities where we have injured kids and you want to volunteer, just send us an email at volunteer@healpalestine.org. We'll find ways. If you want to organize in your community, ways to support our organization and the many different kinds of work that we're doing on the ground in Palestine, you can again reach out to us at volunteer. The email is volunteer@healpalestine.org. If you need more information, visit our website, which is healpalestine.org, or you can ask more information at info@healpalestine.org. We have a lot of different ways that you as individuals can get involved and be active in supporting the work, supporting the kids that are here, helping us to have a bigger impact. And again, being part of what our long-term vision is, which is to really have a strong intervention on the ground for the children of Gaza.
Where did you say the camp was? Camp Heal this summer?
We have a summer camp. It's in Central Ohio, and we're bringing kids from
Okay.
all of the Gaza kids who are here with, some of them are with
Oh.
their siblings, so they'll all be at the summer camp. And obviously we want to have camp counselors who are Palestinian Americans. They're young people
Mm.
there with them to help them with all of the summer camp activities that they'll be having, whether it's swimming, horseback riding, archery, playing games, all of those things that kids should be doing and the life that they should be living as young people. And so if you'd like to volunteer, again, it's the email is camp@healpalestine.org.
All right, if one of the mods or somebody in the chat can put that in the chat for people to save, please, please. This is very, very important that everyone participates. We need to do more. We've had so many people come and say we are not doing enough, and it's true. We are not doing enough. So we need to do more. Jacob, I know you had a question. I think it was how long is the camp for?
It's just a week. Kids are undergoing medical care while they're here, so we can't really take them out of their treatment program and protocols for more than a week. But that'll be a good start. And we hope to make this an annual camp. We're going to be bringing injured kids here for the long term future. There's thousands and thousands of injured children in Gaza right now that are not getting adequate medical care and will not be getting adequate medical care. So our goal, one of the main responsibilities of our organization, is to bring these kids here and get them free medical treatment wherever we can find it. So we'll be bringing lots of kids here, and this camp will be the first one of what we expect to be many every year or even more frequently. So it's in Central Ohio, and again, more information. We're just starting this process of bringing in counselors, but that's going to be closing pretty soon. So if you're interested and you fit the criteria of being, let's say, under the age of 25 and you speak Arabic and you have time, reach out to us and let us know that you're interested, and we'll be happy to see if you're the right fit.
Yeah, there's almost 200 people here, so I know somebody out there will be able to send that in. I know please, please, please do. And then I just want to wrap it up with what has given you hope lately despite the overwhelming destruction in Gaza?
There's a couple of things. First is the response here, especially of the young people in this country. And I'm not speaking just of Arab Americans or Muslim Americans or Palestinian Americans, but everywhere I go, and I travel all over the country, I meet with people by the thousands. I've had so many opportunities to meet so many active people, and things have changed. I've been in this space since the first Intifada, and at one time it was a very small number of people who understood the issue and spoke up on it, and now it's mainstream. Like Palestine is the issue for the active community who look for issues of self-determination and national liberation and social justice. Gaza and Palestine is the issue, and that's changed significantly recently due to what's going on in Gaza. So that gives me hope. Now that obviously we all look at what's happening on a political national level and on an international level, because the international community is just as complicit in this genocide as our government is, and we don't see much hope. But things will change. It just takes time. And, when you start deporting and arresting people for speaking the truth against the genocide, you know that they've lost. They've lost. I mean, that's all they have. They can't further
Exactly.
your argument. And the other thing that gives me hope is the resilience and the humanity of the Palestinian people, particularly the people in Gaza. Like, we have not seen. Imagine if a genocide was being committed in which a population was being starved in anywhere else in the world, in our country here in the United States. What would be the response? There would be a civil war. People would be turning on their neighbors. They'd be killing each other for a scrap of bread. That's not happening in Gaza. There's still a community there. There's people that are still supporting each other. They still have kept their unity and their bond and their identity as Palestinians, as Muslims, as people who support each other. And I see it every day. I have a staff there. I'm in touch and working in Gaza every single day. And we know what's happening on the ground there, and people are supporting each other. They're sharing. They're doing all they can to keep their community united and together despite what's happening. And that should give us all hope. It's just they haven't given up. They want to continue. They want to live normal lives. They want to be free. They want to have their freedom. And they're not turning on each other. They haven't. The society hasn't descended into any kind of chaotic situation other than what's being inflicted upon them from outside. And that should give you hope. And the people there are very resilient. They've kept their humanity. There are people that deserve respect and admiration for not descending into chaos and turning on each other and becoming as we've seen in so many other countries, kind of this unstable entity. The Palestinian people are still very united.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. I mean, I am blown away by how your amazing work that you have been doing and that you have dedicated your entire life to rehabilitating the Palestinian children and helping, with Palestine. You have a Palestinian ID. You're one of the Palestinians. I mean, I am just very honored to have you with us today. I'm going to open up the panel to have a short Q&A session. We have Sirdah. He is actually in Gaza. And welcome سرداح. تفضل. I'm gonna help you unmute. Go ahead.
Hi, wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you, Taz, for giving us this chance to meet an amazing person like Steve. Let me introduce myself for you, Steve. I am Sirdah, Mohammed Sirdah. I am a pharmacist in Gaza. And where I am now I am in Al-Rantisi Hospital. Do you recognize it?
Yes, Rantisi Hospital
Yeah,
is a place we built our pediatric cancer department after Dr. Musa
yeah.
and Sohaila Nasser, who I helped to start PCRF with back in the early 1990s. I love Rantisi Hospital. I'm so sorry, Sada, for what happened to the hospital. It was bombed on November 5th of 2023. It was hit by an airstrike, including our cancer department, which I spent much of my life helping to build, and I'm very honored and privileged to have built that department. But now we see that kids with cancer in Gaza, there's no treatment for them available any longer. We work very hard to provide that treatment for them at Rantisi Hospital. And now they have to leave Gaza for treatment. The good news is that my wife, who is a pediatric oncologist, has helped evacuate over 200 kids with cancer out of Gaza in the past year and a half. However, there's still plenty of children in Gaza suffering from this horrific disease that are not getting medication, who are not getting treatment. And they need to get out as well. So, Siddha, nice to meet you, and God bless you and your people.
Habibi Steve, personally, guys, I have an personal relation with a lot of PCRF team here in Gaza, and I know what they are doing, and they save a lot of lives. just like set up like the building for the oncology for treatment like the kids with the cancer in Rantisi Hospital. The PCRF department was the high specialized department and the only specialized department for the kids with cancer in all Gaza. And to know how is this important, the occupation, like this was the first hospital which the occupation targeted in this G site. And unfortunately, when they invaded the hospital, they destroy all of this department.
Yeah.
But now they are trying to reopen the department. Inshallah, they will succeed soon. And personally, I was like a training pharmacist in that department in 2018. So it was very specialized. It was at the higher standards when we're talking about like treatment, like the kids with the cancer, and it saves many kids' lives in Gaza. And inshallah, with your work, inshallah, BCRF team, inshallah, it will be reopened, inshallah, again soon. And inshallah, all of Gaza, it will rebuild, inshallah, soon by your work. BCRF, guys, one of the best organization when it's related to the real work in the ground, one of the best organization, even as an international organization related to the UN and different like countries, they couldn't do the work which the BCRF did in the ground.
Thank
so I
you
am
for
so
that.
glad.
I'm very
And
honored.
I am so
I'm not with
proud, wallah.
PCRF anymore.
هو
I
ترك
founded
PCRF
PCRF, but I
سردار
left.
هو
But I
yeah who
appreciate
ترك
that.
بس
Your words are
yeah
for when I was leading PCRF, so I appreciate that.
yes of course
Yeah,
thank you
wallah, they did
شكرا
a lot. And I
Shukran.
have a question now. What is this like the struggling and the problems which you faced it before the war and in this war when you are trying to do the work in the ground?
I think the biggest challenge, it's a good question, Sadan. Thank you again for your hard work and for the work of all of the medical staff and medical personnel in Gaza. As you know, everyone, the health system has been targeted and thousands of medical personnel have been imprisoned, have been killed, have been targeted. So other than journalists, the healthcare professionals in Gaza are the true heroes and deserve total respect and admiration for their continued efforts to serve their people during this horrific period. But to answer your question, I think the biggest struggle all of us face is just having access. We would love to get more aid in, obviously. There's food, there's medicine, there's clothing, there's clean water, there's infrastructure that needs to be rebuilt that we're not able to get in. No aid has entered Gaza in the past 5+ weeks. And you can imagine, that hunger, as I mentioned earlier, is becoming more rampant. We're starting to see kids with signs of malnutrition, with severe, weight loss and wasting that's taking place among the population. So that's the biggest struggle, is just being able to get aid to people. And this is why a lot of the work that we're doing is not necessarily just getting aid in, although we would love to do more of that if we were able to, given the restrictions on the border, but the mental health program that we have on the ground in Gaza, the teachers and education that we're providing for students on the ground in Gaza, the global healing program of treating injured kids outside, are all things that don't require getting aid in. So we're able to continue our work and efforts there. Although the biggest challenge, of course, is getting aid in to support a larger number of people.
شكرا سرداح thank you
Steve, and thank you, Taz, for giving me this chance to just talk with this amazing man here. Thank you very much,
you
wallah.
both are amazing both Steve and سرداح ما شاء الله
So, Dad, did you work with Talha in the department?
Yeah, he is my friend.
Yeah,
Talha
he's
Baloch.
he's down in the European hospital now. If you see him or speak
Yeah,
with him,
he back to the hospital. He is back to the hospital Arantisi now, and he's
great.
trying to reopen the department here.
He does.
Inshallah, soon it will be worked again, because now, as you know, there is no any hospitals or clinics specialized to deal with the kids with the cancer, and they are struggling. Wallah, they are struggling, and these kids, they are our future. These
Yeah.
kids, they are our future, and like this is an important topic, wallah, and this is an important work. I was like working under like he was my teacher when I was
Good man.
working as when I was a trainer in the hospital.
Please give him my warm regards.
Inshallah, I will.
MashaAllah.
Inshallah, I will. Thank you very much,
Shukr-
Taz, and thank you
Of
very much,
course.
Steve. And you can switch me with different one. Thank you very much.
It's okay. خليك سرداح. أهلا وسهلا فيك. Thank you, Sirdah. Thank you, Steve. Alina, I didn't know if you had a question, but I wanted to give you the opportunity if you did. You are welcome to go ahead and ask a question or
I have to be really quick and then I have to drop because I'm walking into an appointment. My biggest question is how, like with everything going on, Steve, how is it that you continue doing this work? Like, what is it that drives you? What is the motivation and and what inspires you day to day to continue like this very, very hard work?
Thank you, Alina. I think a couple things. First of all, I mean, you go into this work not looking for, your own personal satisfaction, but how you can help others and what kind of impact can you have. So, when I wake up in the morning to get, to start the day and to start working, it's really how can I help the people that I can reach. Obviously, there's, as I said before, there's thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of orphaned and injured children in Gaza that I can't help right now. But for the dozens or hundreds that we can help through education, through medical treatment, through psychological support, or even thousands by feeding them through our kitchen, that keeps me going. Obviously, we can't make significant changes on a large scale because the forces that are preventing aid from getting in or having the impact that we can have or should have are not allowing that impact to take place. But we're still able to keep going. I mean, when I see the kids that we have under treatment here, we have over 30 injured children here. Some of them are missing both their legs. Some of them had, as I mentioned earlier, Adam in Chicago had his family, complete family killed. He's here with his aunt. And today they sent me a photograph of him. He's at school and he had his class picture today and he was smiling. And yesterday I saw a photo of him. He dressed up like a doctor. He wants to be a doctor. He's just 3.5 years old. That's what keeps me going. This boy has a new chance at life. And even though he's been orphaned, even though he lost his leg, even though he's just 3.5 years old, we've been able to get him here and give him a chance for a better life and a better future. And if it's just one child or 10 children or 100 children or 1,000 children, and even if it's far short from what the need is, it's still something that gives us energy and focus to keep going.
Wow. Very inspirational. I mean, thank everybody in the chat is saying thank you for all your work. Um, we'll go to Truth Seeker. Go ahead, Truth Seeker.
Well, I thank you for all the commendable work you do for Steve. You don't get enough credit for everything, even though you don't look for credit. We just want to say thank you, and you're much appreciated, more than you know it. Some of my questions were kind of answered, but on a grassroots level, like, how can we spread, like your message, all our messages? I know it's hard. Maybe, I don't know if there's a way for you to like create more satellite offices, more grassroots efforts, across the country for us to obviously, spread the message of PCRF, even though you don't work with them, HEAL Palestine, and other initiatives to help, the Palestinian people, like, I know, like, and put more pressure on our politicians if there's like a way, like, maybe I know you have access to more people across the country, to create something of that magnitude where we could put pressure on our politicians on like a more group scale, to let more aid in and, give more plight for the suffering Palestinians more than, that they're getting credit for, and simultaneously, like you said earlier, like staying steadfast through all this, but also for the people that are volunteering, they also need, some more motivation, to keep them going, because what they're seeing, other people suffer. I'm sure it takes a toll on them, as well as the families of everybody. It's like a two-part question, sorry. But, doing all of these things together cohesively, I think is the best way. But do you have any more insight on all that for us to like get to those levels?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very broad question and maybe deserves a different platform or a larger amount of time than we might have today when it comes to how we can effectively use our activism to make positive policy changes in this country or on a global scale. I think, there is a huge movement taking place today across the world in which young people in particular, but not only, are rising up and making Gaza and Palestine an issue that they want to be heard on. Now, has that resonated yet with the policymakers? Not yet, but it will. So I think it's important to keep the pressure on in whatever way people can be active. That is not destructive, that is not violent, but allows our voice to be heard. And the message just constantly needs to be reiterated that this is an issue of justice, of freedom, of equality, of peace. It's not an issue of violence. It's not an issue of destruction. It's an issue in which we are trying to share the message of equality, freedom, democracy, hope, love, and equality. I mean, that's the message here. Now, how do we convey that on a larger scale? I think the more important work really needs to be done on a grassroots level. The more we educate our neighbors, our friends, our relatives about what Palestine is, what it's about, what it means, what it represents. Palestine represents a movement, not just for the Palestinian people, but it's a movement about social justice. And that, when we say never again, and that was obviously the motto following the Second World War, that means also for the Gazans, for the Palestinians, for all of humanity. And I think we just need to constantly reiterate that and have our voices heard in any way you can. So just keep putting the pressure on. Don't be cowed by the effort to either silence our voices or to, I think today they're saying everything that is pro-Palestinian is pro-Hamas. It's not. We're not pro-Hamas. We're pro-freedom for the Palestinian people. And I think that constantly needs to be reiterated, because the other option is that we give in to these accusations of anti-Semitism or supporting terrorism. We want an end to genocide. We want freedom and equality. Those are simple human values. In addition, to answer your second question, people do need support. We need people to, come forward and help with our kids, with our volunteers, with our host families. So if you're out there and you want to get involved and you live in some of the cities where the kids are either in treatment now or coming for treatment, reach out to us through our email, as I said, volunteer@healpalestine.org, and we will be able to link you with our volunteer communities so you can be involved. You can, visit the kids, you can take them out, you can be part of the healing process that we need our communities to step up and help out with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. We need everyone. We need all efforts. Everyone needs to come together because the work is not done and it won't be done until Palestine is free. Thank you, Truth, for that. Let me go to Jacob Berger. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Steve, really nice to meet you. Didn't have any questions, but I'm going to be back in the States in June. I'll message you guys on Instagram to see about maybe coming out and volunteering at the camp. You said it's in June, right?
Yeah, it's in June. It's right at the Eid time, which is unfortunately, it's actually a good thing because we can celebrate Eid as a community at the camp. And, there's so many opportunities to do good at this camp. It's not only giving kids a chance to be kids again, which Gaza kids, they don't have that opportunity any longer, but also for the mothers who are here to develop support networks among each other. They're all spread out throughout the country. And for the communities in the States to really show our support and love. We want to celebrate Palestinian culture. We want to celebrate Palestinian identity. We want to give them a sense that we're here to support them and give them back some of their childhood. And we'd love to have Jacob and others be involved in that. So just reach out to us and we'd love to.
Yeah, I'll send you a message on Instagram.
Great. Thanks, Jacob.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Jacob. Jacob is actually in Egypt and helps the Palestinians from Gaza that are evacuated in Egypt. So he does amazing work as well.
Jacob, reach out to me now then, because we just had a big field trip for dozens and dozens of Gazans children in Egypt yesterday. We have injured kids there who've been treated in the States that have returned. We take care of them after their treatment in Egypt, waiting for the border to open. We have injured kids there now coming out of Gaza who've been waiting to be evacuated. And we have a lot of displaced youth that we're providing education for in Gaza to help them pass their tawjihi and then to support the higher education. So Jacob, if you'd like to visit our kids or to be a part of the organization's work on the ground in Egypt, reach out to me.
Yeah, I'll send you a message on Instagram and we'll see all about that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Perfect. I love this.
We're planning to open a clinic in Egypt for Gaza, run by Gazan doctors for the Gazan communities, so their children and their people have access to medical care as well.
Phenomenal. And then we just have two more questions. Go ahead, Linda.
Hi, Steve. How are you? It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for all of your dedication to our cause and all of the admirable work that you do. So, Gaza has become known as the capital for children who are missing limbs. My question is, how do you determine which case qualifies for medical help abroad? You know, we see so many of these children still stuck on the ground. And what challenges have you faced in the past 18 months in evacuating them that maybe you haven't faced in the past?
Yeah, it's interesting. First of all, I mean, before we started, back in my previous organization, I had led a campaign to build prosthetic limb services in Gaza because there were still a lot of amputees from the Great Return marches where snipers were shooting them from 400 meters away, from previous bombing campaigns and from other issues. There was a huge number of kids with amputations in Gaza already, nothing like today, of course. So we were active in that space already, building up services, training local technicians, getting equipment and materials in for amputees. But unfortunately, now we're talking about thousands, not hundreds. And what we're doing, to answer your question, is when a child is presented to us in need of medical care, and the majority of them are amputees, but there's others, that our field workers in Gaza will visit the family. We'll see what first of all, the medical need of the child is, and also if they are being sponsored by any other organization. If not, then we'll see if the mother or there is a female guardian that will travel with them. Then we'll try to arrange treatment for them at a location abroad. We don't say no to anybody, except for people who may not qualify due to age or due to injuries that cannot be treated. Or now the only people that get evacuated really are war injuries, genocide injuries, whatever you want to call it. But the Ministry of Health will only allow those who've been injured to travel. So what about the thousands of kids who have birth defects or have cancer or have diseases? Some kids are getting out through other methods. Like I mentioned earlier, my wife is leading the process of evacuating kids with cancer out of Gaza. But other than that, kids with heart defects, kids with neurological disorders, kids with other kinds of medical conditions are not getting out. And they need treatment. And we were treating them previously, before the genocide started, by sending medical teams in and building up those services. So, but for those kids who are amputees, the way we identify them through a variety of ways, through our team on the ground, through social media, through doctors on medical missions, through local doctors. They provide us the contacts for the kids. We then visit them. We start preparing their medical files. We arrange treatment for them. But the biggest challenge, of course, is that the borders are closed and that evacuations are not taking place. During the so-called ceasefire a couple of months ago, about 15 of our kids were evacuated, kids that we had arranged treatment for already. But we have dozens and dozens of more kids who've already been accepted at American hospitals for free care that can't get out. They're stuck. And we have many, many more kids that we're working on that have come to our attention that need medical care abroad, that we're working to arrange treatment for them, but we have no idea if they're going to be able to get out as well. When will the border open again? When will humanitarian evacuations take place again? Nobody knows the answer to those questions. It might be tomorrow. It's probably going to be a long, long time from now. So we're going to keep working, but we have a long waiting list of children that are in need of medical care that can't get out. But we don't say no to anybody. Any child who needs any kind of medical care in Gaza, please contact us, and you can do it through info@healpalestine.org. Send us their contact information. If you hear about them, please try to find out how we can reach them, because you'll save us from having to try to search for them as well. But you'll see a lot of patients on social media. I'm sure you saw a boy who was blinded recently. Our team has already visited him. Our doctors have already evaluated him. We're in touch with his family. We're going to try to see if we can save his sight, at least in one of his eyes, by arranging treatment for him outside. And we have lots of kids like that. So if you have any patients or any children who are injured that you think we can help, please just forward them to us and we'll do our best to assist.
And that was info@healpalestine.org.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Linda. We'll go to Steve. Steve, meet Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you, Taz. Hi, Steve. I'm Steve-O, actually. I go up to Steve-O, so there's no confusion there. Not from Jackass, but anyways. First, I want to say nice to meet you. Much respect. This is my first time really meeting you and hearing what you're doing, and amazing work. We need more people like you in the world, is what I'm saying. But I do have a question that is connected here, of course. But what do you have to say for people that might be scared to stand up right now because of, let's say, activists being arrested. We've seen people's doors kicked in, students being targeted for speaking out. And I want to say I got arrested in Chicago August 19th. I'm currently in Oakland. I live in California, but I did travel the country protesting in some big, including with Jacob. I met Jacob in Washington, D.C. We protested outside of Watergate for Netanyahu, but I was falsely accused of aggravated assault on a peace officer and brutally assaulted and thrown in jail. I've been fighting these charges for about 8 months, and my final court date's on May 12th, where I'm in Chicago, where I'm facing up to 7 years in prison. I just want to, what do you have to say for people who are afraid to stand up, and do you have any words of inspiration for me going on?
Well, first of all, Steve-O, thank you for your courage and for your activism and for, you know, the sacrifices that you've made and seemingly may have to make in the future. We're with you. And if you have any way that we can support your legal fund, I don't know if that's something that's available. You might want to share that. I think all of us should try to contribute and support our brothers and sisters who made these kind of sacrifices in the cause of freedom and justice for our brothers and sisters undergoing this horrific genocide. Steve-O, please let us know how we can help you. But to answer your question, I think all of us have to, first of all, look inside our own hearts and our own souls and how important this issue is. I mean, I try to look things always from a historical point of view. And what would we have done in 1938 or 1942 when our Jewish brothers and sisters in Europe were being exterminated in such a graphic and horrific manner? And would we have been cowed by the state of Germany or the pogroms that took place in the Soviet Union, or here in our own country when our African American brothers and sisters were being attacked by police dogs and thrown in jail, and in some cases even the people who came south to support them were being murdered by the Klan and by the police forces in the South. We have to look at it from that perspective, and this is a historical moment. This is a moment that one day it'll be over, and we're going to have to look back and say, what did we do during the Great Gaza Genocide? And Steve-O, you've made a huge sacrifice, and all of us have to find in our own hearts what role we want to play. The one thing we cannot do is be silent. The one thing we cannot do is stand aside because people might accuse you of being an anti-Semite or being a supporter of terrorism. We're not. We're here to put an end to genocide. And it may cost us a lot on a personal level. It may cost you individually if you're willing to make that sacrifice, if you're willing to take that stand. Each of us have to answer that individually. But eventually we're going to have to answer it to our own conscience. And for those of us who are believers, for those who have faith, you'll have to answer to a higher being and a higher purpose as well. So this time we're here now, this is a test for each of us. And it will pass, and there'll be in the future a time that you'll be accountable for your actions today. And Steve-O, I think you are going to be on the top list of people who deserve respect and appreciation for taking a stand, along with Jacob and so many others. So God bless you, and again, let us know how we can support you.
Hey, I appreciate you so much for those kind words, and this is what I'm feeling going into it. You know what I mean? I know what I stand for. I know what we fight for. We fight for the children of Gaza.
Yeah.
And the children of Gaza are brave. They've changed our lives. They've made me a braver person, been able to face anxiety and to stand up for what's right in the world. And we're going to have to answer to our own children, our own grandchildren about what we did right now.
That's right.
I believe this is not only my only life, but my last life. And what I'm doing right now is important. And I'm going to be brave like the children of Gaza taught me. And I'm going to, if I do go to prison for however long, I'm going to know that I went for trying to save innocent children's lives.
When is your trial?
May 12th in Chicago at the George Lighton Courthouse. We're actually putting together a small protest outside the courthouse. I'm even going to go live in front of it before I walk in. Like, bye.
Message me privately if you can, and I'll see what I can do. I mean, at least to inspire you. We have 6 injured kids in Chicago right now. That at least to meet them and to get that inspiration of this is the people who you're struggling for, and these are the people that you're sacrificing for, and I'd be happy to see what I can do to support you.
Thank you so much.
I love this.
I want to say that I've used this moment as a push forward the cause, actually, because I host a morning show for the families of Gaza. I'm going to do it after this, to where we support sometimes hundreds of families a day from the support of the people and what I've earned through protesting or doing lives. And that they've said that it's done more for them than like the Red Cross or people who were supposed to helping them that didn't. Because my team, I call my team the Wolf Pack. You know, we're in it together, but the Palestinian Wolf Pack, keep in mind. But and like just being there with them every day, like we know hundreds of families by name, their children. Like we could send a lot of children your way. You know what I mean? But anyways, thank you for the words.
Hang in there, brother.
Thank you, Steve. Steve-O. This is so heartwarming just to see. This is what we need, coming together and helping one another to help everyone and to help the world and to help humanity. I know, Steve, you had a hard stop at 12. I don't know if you are open to taking another question or two, but that is open. Okay. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Abu Binks.
And thanks for having me, Taz. I'm going to go ahead and drop.
Thank you,
Much love.
Steve. Thank you, Steve. Amazing.
Steve-O, you're
Steve-O.
amazing. Bless your heart. I don't know if I can up your one up your question, brother, but I'm gonna try my hardest. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Steve, how are you, my friend? I actually had the honor of shaking your hand one time in Cleveland, actually, at a comedy relief event hosted by a couple people, including Caucasian Arab, and you were there. It was an honor and a great surprise to actually get to talk to you for 5 minutes. It was one of the highlights of what's going on, basically. I had so many questions, but I'm just gonna stick to one. I am in Ohio. I am over 25 years old. Can I still help? Can I still volunteer? Can I still drive children around to hospitals?
Oh, yeah, 100%. The age limit was just on the camp.
Okay,
brother.
Because I have a guest room.
Where are you in Ohio?
I'm in the CLE, brother. I'm in the 216.
Well,
so
3 injured kids there now being treated. So we'd love for you, including when the boy I mentioned earlier who had to have his leg amputated, he's in the hospital. And so, yeah, we have a very robust community in Cleveland that have been supporting these kids and doing an amazing job. So, yeah, just send me an email at volunteer.
I'm gonna email you. I have a guest room. I have 2 beds, two children-sized beds. I can at least host 2 children here at a time.
Great.
I'm willing to 110%. I will email you. I don't want to dox myself on here, but I'm gonna email you with the.
Just email me directly. It's fine.
Perfect. I'll say Abu Binks on there as the head.
Okay. I'll wait to hear
Steve,
from you, brother.
Thank you very much for everything you do. It's an honor to talk to you once again. God bless you, your entire existence, your entire family tree, brother.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Abu Binks. And then we'll go to our final question. Go ahead, Queen Bee Nurse.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me well.
Yes.
Are good? Okay. Steve, thank you so much for everything you do. I've been following you for many, many years. Actually, one of my cousins who is in the Cleveland area is very active with you. I don't want to dox her or anything, but she is actually one of the professors at Cleveland State University.
Yeah,
so you might know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's my cousin.
Boss.
That's my cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my cousin. I know she's awesome. She's awesome. She's a firecracker.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had actually mentioned to her that I would love to try to start a New York City chapter because I am here in the New York City area.
We have
there is one.
Yeah.
Oh, a New York City chapter. Okay.
Where are you at exactly in New York?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Amazing. So we have a young lady in New York now who lost both her legs. She's amazing in the sense that she's studying so hard to get her education. She's learning to walk again. We always need communities support for her and her mom while they're there. And we are building, we'd love to have, I know Brooklyn has a lot of Palestinians, so we'd love to have an offshoot of kind of our New York City healing community that we would love to have something in Brooklyn as well. So yeah, definitely reach out to me. And we'd love to communicate with you about how we can make it happen.
I will. I will. I'll text my cousin and let her know that I'm going to reach out to you.
Okay,
Just as a side note, I am a pediatric nurse.
perfect.
So yeah.
So we do medical
Um,
missions. If you'd like to be
mhm.
involved in a mission as well, just send me your CV.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've actually so I've tried to apply a couple of times, not with HEAL, but with other organizations, and I've gotten denied because I'm of Palestinian origin, even though born and raised in the U.S. But I've gotten denied a couple of times already.
We'll make it happen.
Okay,
There we go.
all right.
Exactly.
Oh, awesome, awesome. That would be amazing. Well, thank you so much for all your work that you do.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank,
All right, thank you
thank
guys.
you. Thank you, Queen Bee Nurse. Thank you so much, Steve, for being with us. And we are absolutely honored to have you and to have listened to everything that you said. Absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, this is probably my favorite live that I have hosted, and I've hosted many, many guests, and this was inspirational. It was heartwarming, and we will do our best to help you help others and help the world. And again, we are not free until Palestine is free. And thank you again, Steve, for all of your hard work. We will be in touch, inshallah, and we will be following you and supporting you with the continued effort and work. And thank you again, Steve, for being with us today.
Thank you, Taz, for having me, and thanks for the good work you're doing, sharing the message and getting the word of people who are doing great work out there. Not me necessarily, but everybody on your panel. And we're excited about doing more and having a bigger service to the Palestinian people during this historical moment. So looking forward to hearing from everybody, and thank you again for giving me this opportunity.
Of course. Thank you so much, Steve. Take care.
Waiting you inshallah in Gaza, and you have to be my guest in Gaza.
Okay, but just for I'm just going to have samak wa filfil ya zalame.
سمك وفلفل.
No, that's sure.
and دقة.
And don't, yeah, exactly. In Gaza,
and دقة.
Gaza and Filfil,
and
that's
سمائية.
sure.
and full. Inshallah, it's we're
Inshallah.
waiting for the
حبيبي يا
moment to
Steve.
return to Gaza. So God bless you.
Inshallah.
Thank
Inshallah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Take care. Thanks for having me.